So here's the scenario we're going to be working with. We're building a site for a startup called Gift of Geek that will eventually sell original geeky products, like build-your-own-hovercar kits and USB-powered phosphorescent Zen gardens. But we'll be implementing the site in phases. And this first phase will be focused on building a loyal readership and fan base. The two big features that we'll be focusing on for the site are geeky product reviews and a multi-user blog. That sounds simple enough, and there are some CMSs out there that cater to sites that focus on content just like this. But in subsequent phases of development for this site, you'll be adding in features like advertisements, a shopping cart for original products, integration with social networks, support for affiliate partners, and a bunch of other features that are still in the planning stages. You'll want something that's flexible then, something that focuses on building blocks and that will offer the best tools long-term to build flexible components as the site develops. So it makes sense to choose Drupal as the platform. Even though many people tackle entire web projects like this by themselves, it helps to look at how a team would approach splitting up the tasks required to make this dream site a reality. Because even if you plan on doing the site entirely yourself, you'll end up taking on these different roles in the process. Typically, you'll see a team split up into information architects, site builders, programmers, designers, and themers. The information architect typically starts the planning process by interviewing the client to figure out what the functional requirements of the site are and to help the client understand the strengths and weaknesses of Drupal. In Drupal, some difficult things are really easy to do, and some things that seem like they should be trivial end up being more of a challenge. When the information architect is done with their part of the process, they'll typically have a set of wireframes that outline the functional requirements of each page, and a sitemap that outlines what pages the client expects to see on their site. And hopefully, the wireframes take into account the things that Drupal does easily, and any requirements that will be more difficult to do in Drupal have been explained to the client and they know what they're getting into. So once we have these wireframes, we can go in a couple different directions next. Either we can begin to build a working prototype of the site in Drupal itself, or we can focus on the design of the site and build out the design. To truly cater to Drupal's strengths, and to be able to give the client something they can see in action, building a prototype is usually the most efficient use of time. It's often hard to imagine what a site will really feel like when you're just looking at designs, but when a client can click between the pages and explore the additional features that come with Drupal out of the box that they might not have asked for initially, it can help anchor the idea that it makes sense to leverage what Drupal gives us. Prototyping this way also makes sense because the work that goes into the prototype can be used for the final product. In fact, it will eventually become the final product. If we go the other route and create the design first, then the process of prototyping will likely bring out aspects of the design that won't fit with a flexible Drupal structure, and the design will either have to change or some of Drupal's flexibility will have to be sacrificed in order to match up with the design.